All right, so let's introduce you. So this is Mario from Taco Fly Co.
All right, epic day. Super fun.
Hey, on the river, we got a special video for all of our Taco Fly Co. fans who wanted to know how to make our special beers.
Fish on the strip. Nice Eagle Lake strain rainbow trout. Let's go ahead and let it go.
And I couldn't be more excited for you because you're kind of like me and you like the urban vibe, and you are fucking awesome, to be honest.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, dude.
And I'm a big fan.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
And specialty beers is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, special beers, man. Special beers is definitely been a very surprising mark on the fly fishing community since Taco Fly Co. has come around.
Dude, I think it's like the best shit ever. It makes my day every single time I see it.
Yeah, it's definitely it was created when we were fly fishing. It comes, from an old recipe that my brother's friend gave me that was basically just salt and lemon, but there's that specific way you crack the beer that's what makes it, man. And then adding all the other ingredients, me and my buddy Andrew, when we were fishing on the Trinity River, that was what we created. And when I started Taco Fly Co., obviously for anyone who's seen what Taco Fly Co. is, it's just basically it's basically just me, based off of me and my friends.
Right.
There's no like hype and fakeness about what I'm trying to put out there. It's just the way we are. It's the way we act. And so the special beers were a part of it. And with the growth of the social media and putting our first episode out there was just how to make special beers. It was just I think it really set the precedent on who we are, what we are, and that part of fly fishing that I love to celebrate and constantly push out there, is that it's about having fun. And obviously you don't have to drink beer, but
right,
if you are, you should try to make it a special beer.
Yes, dude. I think I'm like the biggest fan. Ever since I moved to California, I thought this guy gets it for sure. And so I did a little homework on you. I listened to your Barbless podcast. So you're from Andrew Hill, San Jose, right?
No, I'm from San Jose area. I grew up near Andrew Hill. But
okay.
It's what we would call essentially the south side of San Jose.
South side of San Jose. And what's it like growing up there?
Well, I actually was pretty lucky because, San Jose it's a big city. There's over 1 million people in that city. It's a huge place. With that comes different types of neighborhoods. You've got poor neighborhoods, you've got rich neighborhoods, you've got it all. Right. I didn't necessarily grow up in a bad environment. I had a great family. I went to an okay school. It wasn't the best school. Mm-hmm. It was in South San Jose called Santa Teresa. But I moved away to from that deep south side area into the Andrew Hill area because my parents got a nice property. It was pretty big, but it was in a pretty seedy part of town.
Nice.
So yeah, coming from this okay, prominently white area of town and then moving into a prominently Mexican area, my dad's from Mexico. I'm Mexican.
Are you the firstborn American?
No. So my dad came from Mexico, and he basically didn't teach us Spanish. So he wanted us to grow up as quote unquote Americans,
right?
And so all of my friends growing up were mostly white kids, and like in South San Jose, there were some Mexican kids in our school and stuff, but it was prominently white kids, and I maintained that like part of San Jose. I stayed in that part of San Jose, but I moved to a very Mexican part of town,
okay.
Like, very Mexican part of town. So it was a little hard for me to make friends on that area because everyone spoke Spanish, and either they were from Mexico, or they I was, quote unquote whitewashed. Right. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's like, PC to say now or whatever. But that's just how we were raised. That's how our family was raised. We were raised as San Josealians and San Jose people. We weren't. My dad didn't push the Mexican culture on us too much. So when I went to that part of town, it was a little challenging, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was, I was a skateboarder kid, and there was a lot of vatos and cholos around where I lived, and a lot of I almost got carjacked out there. Like I almost got jumped. It was definitely a little hood in that part of San Jose, but we had a great home. It was a beautiful house. I just would mostly spend my time down on the other side of San Jose where I grew up.
But do you have that San Jose pride though?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love that place. I love that place. It always holds a big piece of my heart. It just got to be, when I got into my late 30s, or mid 30s, it just got to be, I had to get out of there. It got to be too much.
Yeah, change is always good. But you haven't gone far. I mean, I'm from Cleveland living in California, so shit's real different for me, I guess. But that's cool. That's cool that you moved somewhere else, up north.
Yeah, man. I just had to get out of there, dude, and it got to the point where I was finding myself leaving San Jose every weekend.
Right.
I was constantly taking off, whether it was to the California Delta when I was a bass fisherman or Clear Lake or whatever. I was always leaving, and then I fell in love with Trinity River, and that was just like the decision I had to make because San Jose was just getting a little too crazy,
Yeah,
so.
I feel that. I mean, Cleveland's definitely a rough town. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, man, I've heard about it.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland Heights, so that's a pretty diverse neighborhood next to East Cleveland, and then obviously Cleveland. But I went to a private school, starting in high school. But growing up was a little different. I played hockey and lacrosse, but I started fishing around 14 or something. No, probably way younger than that. But I started fly fishing at 14 with a couple of my buddies.
Oh, okay.
And my dad didn't do it, so my buddy Connor and I, started fly fishing, and we just call it the whippy stick. And we would do bass fishing in northern Michigan, and carp fishing in basically. And then we have the fake steelhead in Cleveland. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard about those.
Yeah,
I'm not too familiar, but I've heard about it. I've heard the controversy about it or whatever. But hey, man, trout's a trout.
Yeah, I got shaped up pretty quick when I came to California. I was like, no, we have steelhead. They're like, no, you don't have steelhead.
Yeah.
So
those are the ones that come from the Great Lakes, right?
Yeah, I just say really large rainbow trout that come from big Great Lakes.
Right.
But it's, I mean, California is an interesting place. The thing that shocked me is how diverse it is geographically. I mean, you have the mountains, valley, coastal stuff. But this is kind of all about you, and I've been, such a fan of you. And then I know, if you know Evan Praskin, a couple of my buddies, we've been talking about how awesome you were. And so just tell us, here's an example. What do you want from the fly fin industry, and kind of what do you want to change, or what do you want your mark to be, or if you want a mark, and just go for it.
Yeah. So, I love this shit. Fly fishing, I feel like even right now, even just thinking about fly fishing, I'm an emotional guy.
Right.
And it saved my life, man. I'm so lucky to have found, I've been a diehard fisherman my whole life, but there's something about the fly fishing experience. And I think it's mostly rivers and fishing rivers, because I always loved rivers. And it's the attachment you feel when you hook into a fish and you have the fish on, and you've got 10 feet, 20 feet of line out still, and you're feeling that fish pull that line as you're controlling the rod with your right hand, and the fish it burns, and then it burns your hand. It's just like that you have more of a direct contact. I was a trophy bass hunter, and I loved that, and it was cool. And I mean, you're throwing a broomstick and a 5-ounce swim bait, and when you hook that fish, you crank down 25-pound mono hard as you can, as fast as you can, to bring that fish into the net as fast as possible, because it could pop out that swim bait. I mean, that's pretty cool feat, and it's awesome, and it's amazing feeling. But it you know, when you take that and compare like a 10-pound largemouth bass to a 30-inch steelhead, you know, which I've caught one in my life, 30 inches, and it's just like that fight on the fly rod is just, I don't know, just feels just so direct to the fish, you know. And yeah, man, I love it. I fell in love with it. It saved my life, like being around rivers, exploring rivers, exploring places. And so, you know, I'm not going anywhere. This is what I want to do.
Hell yeah.
I don't, you know, if I have to get back behind a desk right now, I don't have like a desk job, which, you know, when I was doing that Barbless podcast, I had a desk job. You know, I was a remote worker, and now I'm not. I'm actually trying to get my guide business off the ground. I'm trying to see what's up with Taco Fly Co. And I'm just trying to see where I end up. And where that is where hopefully fly fishing will take me as far as I can go to get where I can to not survive off fly fishing, but at least have had my chance at trying to make something of my love for fly fishing and spreading the joy that fly fishing brings to me. And that brings me into the answer, like, or to how to answer your question, because, you know, when I got into it, I realized quickly that there's just this asshole mentality, man.
Right.
There's a lot of assholes out there. And there are a lot of fucking cool people, though. You know, like I actually just went to a coastal river for the first time on a whim. Well, we planned it. We knew nothing about it. That's part of the fun, right? People are really quiet about certain rivers, and we went to this river, and, you know, it ended up everyone was super cool. So I was getting proved wrong, you know, about this experience that I had on the Trinity River and these experiences I had on the lower Sacramento River. You know, where when I would show up and I'd be like, hey man, how's it going? How you doing? Just rowing by somebody. And you get the stinkiest eyes. You get the, like, no reply. You get the smug murk, you know, the smug smirk, you know, and I got that a lot. And then I got like a lot of slack for putting out these blog videos, which they're blog videos all over the internet on all types of fishing, and especially fly fishing. Why are people going to give me shit? And I didn't know. I guess I was just surprised that there was this whole you're doing it wrong type of thing, you know? And that motivates me, dude. I fucking love haters.
Yes.
Sorry for the language, but I do. I grew up a skateboarder, you know, like we got kicked out of spots my whole life. Like, you know, people don't like you when you skate. And I grew up like that. So to have these fly fishing guys like give me these like vibes, dude, that doesn't do nothing but make me want to piss them off more. And like, I don't want to sound like I'm like an instigator or anything.
No,
I'm a
like
really
it.
nice guy, man. I am. My dad and my mom raised me to be a nice person. I will put anybody else in front of me, and you know, I say that out of like, I say that because I feel like that's how everyone should be. You know, everyone should be like, you are my friend, you are my family. You know, that's how I feel. Even if you're a stranger, hell yeah, dude, you don't have food here. Let me help you out. You know, like, I don't even know you, but perhaps you're in a pinch, and hey man, here you go. Here's a t-shirt, or here's a ride. Of course, if I can give you one, or whatever. And that's how I was raised. So, you know, that's how I am at first. And then when people are dicks, then it's just like that skateboarder mentality comes in, and I'm just like, man, F you, dude. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can to do what I'm doing to not like instigate something in that person's space or whatever. I'm just trying to have a good time, man. And I'm just giving you like proper manners, like I was raised. Like, how was your day, person? Or how are you doing? And I've just noticed that a lot of fly fishermen aren't really that nice, man. So well,
it started from like royalty, right? So it kind of trickles down.
See, and that's where, so this gets back into that like
1640.
Right. So I just recently started finding out like more about the past of fly fishing, and there's like so many different like explanations of who did what or whatever. But fly fishing, anyone you ask, it is, when people think of fly fishing, they think of a certain demographic, and I'm not in that demographic.
Right.
So that's why I think like what I want to do is if I could leave a mark in fly fishing, the only thing that I want to do is to let people know, even if they were interested, but just intrigued by it a little bit, that it's attainable no matter who you are, what you do, how much money's in your wallet, where you live, who your favorite baseball team is, what music you listen to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it
doesn't.
Who you are. You can fly fish, and there is not a definition of the people that are entitled to be guides. There's not a definition of people that are entitled to be swingers. There's not a definition of people that are entitled to be dry fly fishermen only. You can do whatever you want, and you could be anyone you want, because fly fishing, it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. It gets you outside. It gets you outdoors. So that's just what I want to do. And I also want to piss people off.
Yes.
that really like want to keep it as an inclusion sport or as a privileged sport. Those are the people I want to piss off. And I don't want to do it. I'm not trying to do it on purpose. I'm just being me. And again, like, if people get mad about it, I feel like with taco, it's either you like it or you hate it. And, with the haters, it's good, because bad press is good.
Right.
It's press. Right. So that's it, man. I think that's why I have skills in social media. I have skills in video editing and photography, because that's what I did when I skated. And that's my other love besides fishing. So, I have that capability to put media out there, and I'm gonna continue, man. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, what I love about you, I guess how to describe it. So I kind of dealt with the same thing, especially when I was younger, and how I dealt with it was that, the fish don't care. The fish don't know what I look like. The fish, don't know who you are. So like, who gives a fuck, right? So, it doesn't even matter. It just drives you more, right? So like, that's so funny about fishing. It's a sport. It's not like golf, right? It's not basketball where you can. You can't, like, you can see the ball go in the hole, right? And like humans are judging it. There's refs. There's no refs. No. It's a fish. Fish don't give a fuck. They just want to get the fly. So like, when people hate on the demographic or hate on what it should be, it's kind of idiotic, because it's really just all about the fly in front of the fish. So all that stuff goes out the window. So that's kind of what I think about it. And that's, I guess, I laugh at it, or, I don't even know how to describe it. What kind of got me was, I grew up fishing, and I'm from Cleveland, and Cleveland's the armpit of the United States, right? So anywhere I go, someone's like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Cleveland." They're like, "Oh, that sucks." I'm like, "Oh, all right, fuck you," But so like, I kind of dealt with that growing up, and then when I was 20 years old, I moved to Nantucket, Massachusetts, because I wanted to fish. I started a fishing club in my college. I was really into it, and I got a lot of shit from being from Cleveland, because I'd rock Indians gear, I'd rock Cavs gear, I'd rock Browns gear, all that shit, and then eventually I just kind of got over the fact that the fish didn't care. And I was out there all the time. And then, I just wanted to move west. I just wanted to see what west was about. So I moved to San Francisco, and I didn't know anything about it. And I started working at these fly shops, editing the videos for Lost Coast Outfitters. And what I kind of noticed was that it would be the same demographic, especially where our shop was. It would be the same thing over and over again. And it started to bother me. And kind of the last straw for me was, I don't know if you ever hear about the college scandal, where like, guys paid for their kids to be on like the tennis team, stuff like that. So one of those guys came in the shop, and he spent like $10,000. And I'm college educated. I can make money other ways, but I chose to do the fly route. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. Fuck it. I'm privileged enough to be in the United States. I can actually make a living off this. So why don't we do it? Who cares if I don't make $1 million? And then this guy comes in, and he spends like $10,000, and we have like a big party, right? Like, oh yes, yes, like this guy spent a bunch of money, and I was like, is this, really, what I want? Is this,
Right.
then I kind of looked in the mirror and then I left, and I'm doing my own thing now, and really is what you make it, and that's how I describe it. Is fly fishing is what you make it. If you're one of those guys that wants to make it pretentious and like go to, Christmas Island every couple of years, but not fish anything else, sure,
Right.
that's cool. If you want to be
Cool, man.
like
Yeah,
you,
exactly. I'm like, dude, that's fine.
if you want to be
That's
like
cool.
you and like, inspire the people that do it and like live the Trinity and live this NorCal life and like, be Hispanic and be, something different, then yeah. Or if you want to be like me, who's goofy as fuck and like just wants to bring sports and pop culture to fly fishing, then sure. So like, I guess that's like, it really is what you make it. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, because the humans, really don't matter at the end of the day. Private
Yeah,
property
man.
matters, but the fish don't fucking care.
Yeah, they don't care. And I think that fly fishing needs this.
Oh, yes.
Right now, I'm partnered up with a group called Brown Folks Fishing. They were sort of created
That's sick.
as a response for, Tracy, the founder, she experienced an issue in, or in Orbis. Now,
Oh, really?
in an Orbis store, right? And she's a very smart person. She loves fishing. She grew up fishing. And she was, she knows some stuff about fly fishing, but she also was trying to learn some stuff. And she was treated very poorly in an Orvis store. And, she's Asian, of Asian descent. She looks, contemporary for like an artist standpoint, like it's somebody in their mid-20s.
Right.
She's, I wouldn't say, when I think of Tracy, I think of like a movie star / graffiti artist or something. She's got the coolest style. Like I would, I like her style, and
Yeah.
I look at her and I go, oh man, I could vibe with Tracy. Like we definitely, I can tell, have common interests. That's just how it is when you see how certain people dress. So when she walked in that store, those employees saw that and they were like, well, who's this person? Like why is she, and they basically treated her like shit. So she to also clarify that Orvis responded very well on that issue, because that was what was happening. That's still kind of what happens in fly fishing in some areas, but that's how it was at that time. And she said, I need to make something that celebrates the anglers of all, of people of color, essentially, right?
Right.
And people who have like that issue. Like I walked into the fly shop across the street from the Sims factory in Montana. I don't even know what that store's name is. I don't even care. But they were just assholes, dude. Me and my girlfriend were in there to spend some money on some boots and some waders. And
you're spending money. That's big.
Yeah, I thought I could buy waders at the Sims store, at the Sims warehouse, and they were like, no, you can't buy, but you could go across the street. I was like, oh, because I wanted to do this, like, I'm going to buy waders in Montana, like, just to say on our trip, And I walked in, and these dudes were lame, straight up. They were lame as fuck to me, and it was just like, okay, so I know Tracy's experience, right? So anyways, she made Brown Folks Fishing as like a response and as a collective to get people together who have like minds, like who are willing to tackle the more or less the exclusion of a certain type of people and treating people a specific way because they look like something, because they are interested in fishing, any type of fishing. And fly fishing seems to be the one that it struggles with accepting those of the counterculture, So because of the Brown Folks Fishing collective, and her making that and Orvis responding very well to it, that just gave us, more energy to want to continue forward in working as a group to try to, at least address the fly fishing industry and say, hey, like this is changing. Things are changing. How are you as an industry going to respond to that, right? Is it going to be also is it going to be authentic? Is it going to be
Right.
uh, true? Like, are you actually going to respond just because you don't want to look bad as a brand, or
Mm-hmm.
are you going to respond because you actually really care? You know, so
That's interesting. I mean, Orvis is how old's Orvis? Like 1853.
yeah,
You know, so like that's probably might be the oldest brand in fly fishing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, the internet changes things, right?
Yeah, man. And I think too, it's like a call out. You call them out, you tell them, and you know, when people are willing to listen and willing to acknowledge their mistakes and how they can correct certain things like that, I think that's a pretty respect. I think I respect companies like that are willing to, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, F Orvis, I ain't gonna mess with them anymore. It's like, okay, how will you respond to this? Because then if I say fuck Orvis, or if I say, you know, well, I did say that one shop. Well, it's a shop, so I don't care. But like a large brand, if they're going to respond to it like in a way where, you know, they want to address it, then you know, it's if I get mad at them right away like that in that form where I say, you know, F you, then I just gonna stoop down to their level of that brand and not including people like me. You know what I mean? Or at least just addressing my interest in the sport or whatever, or the lifestyle, right? Like I want to spend money there. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say fuck Orvis because their rods suck and fucking the when you get in a rod bag takes forever. So.
I actually really like the Recon. I'm using that one right now.
Oh really? I just use the Echo base.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love the Echo Bank too, man. That's a great rod. I got the Orvis Recon because of the weight, and we were trying to start to Euro knit for steelhead, and we needed something at the 10-foot range, but that wasn't like 6 ounces, 5 ounces. We were looking for around like 4 ounces.
Damn, you're getting nerdy on me. I like it.
Yeah, dude, I have a really bad shoulder, so you know, you look at the lighter rods out there, and the Recon was one of the lighter ones, and so I was like, you know, I'm gonna try it, and dude, I love it. I actually it does work well as a nice steelhead Euro nymph rod. If you want to straight up just throw your Euro nymph rod setup or Euro nymph reel setup on it, it works super good as an alternative to what's out there because there's no Euro steelhead rods that are specific. We landed some fish on some 4-weight rods, but it was tough. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good transition. Just nerd out about your fishery and just tell us everything, you know, like what you're doing and what the whole fishery is doing and just all that, what you're into.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I started my first steelhead on the fly was on a swing, and the only reason I took that bobber off to do the swing was because where I bought my rod, is Trinity Fly Shop in Lewiston, best fly shop. I fucking love them. They're the shit. It's my favorite shop. What's awesome is that they are strictly 110% swing fishermen. They do not use indicators there. Oh yeah, they're like they make fun of them actually. I mean, it's not that they make fun of them, but they don't use them. Their guides don't use them. They sell them because they had to because people started coming up to the trainees so much. But so I went in there and bought a rod, and I told him, you know, I have an indicator rod. I have indicator set up, and so he sold me an Echo Solo, which I think was before the base. And so I ended up, he's like, hey man, take off that bobber and let it swing, right? And so I did, and I stuck my first steelhead. So, you know, I tried to swing fish. Well, the next day after I did that, I went on a guide trip and we roped. We were using indicators, and it was on the Trinity, and it was, you know, standard indicator rig with, you know, a split shot on there and 2 flies below the indicator. And that was fun. I mean, watching a bobber goes down brings me back to when I was a kid. I just love watching indicators go down. I love it. And I call them bobbers because that's what they are. I'll call them indicators too, but I like to call them bobbers. And so watching those go down, that's also fun. So I swung one up, and then the next day I got them on Indo. So that's pretty much like what I try to do. Now I'm pretty much 90% indicator fisherman. Mm-hmm. I will swing, you know, sometimes. It's not all the time. I got a drift boat now, so it's kind of hard to swing off of a boat. We do stop on some runs, and I'll swing. Obviously, it's not my. I don't say. I don't even say that I'm like a really like I don't even know what I'm doing. I always say that, but I mean I could get people into fish, mostly on indicators. I know good runs to swing too if someone knows how to swing. But yeah, man, I love Indo rigs for steelhead. I just went to the coast. I learned about their type of Indo fishing out there for those bigger fish on those bigger waters sheds and what to use. You got to use a whole like bigger setup out there. I love lake fishing for fish. I love dry dropper. Where I fish mostly up here in Plumas County is small creeks and small rivers, and that's like a lot of Euro nymphing. So in my skateboarding, I like to be what I call the ATV, an all-terrain vehicle. I like to skate street. I like to skate park. I like I like everything. I like to drop in on vert ramps. I like to do a flip in trick on a ledge or whatever. And so with my fishing, it's the same. Like I want to be able to do everything. Like I don't want to say, oh, fuck the indicator guys. Fuck the swing guys. I don't want to be like that. And I don't want to be like, oh, screw still water. Yeah. I just feel like that's not. I've never been like that. I mean, right. I actually just threw a spin rod when I was out on the coast for probably 4 or 5 casts, and that got boring right away. But that's what I like to do in the watersheds where I'm at. And so yeah, on the Trinity, I'm mostly using Indos on the lower stack, Indo rigs. Some dry fly action sometimes if I see a fish popping off the top. Some skating some flies. That's pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
That's epic, dude. And of course stripping. I love stripping little bugs. I love stripping buggers. I love stripping in lakes. We have those Eagle strain rainbows up here in Plumas County, in Almanor, Lake Davis, Frenchman. They're massive. They're big. They grow fast. They're really aggressive. Getting those fish on the strip is badass. And then of course you got pyramid stripping flies. There is, man, when they're in there, that pre-spawn and they're gobbling up stripped flies, dude. It's a blast on 7 weights. It's epic.
Man, that's so like a crazy fishery you have there. I mean, you just went through so much.
So I got 2 hours to pyramid. I'm 2.5 hours to the lower stack, 3 hours to the Trin. And then all around me, I've got Lake Almanor Hex Hatch. That's 45 minutes away. I got Lake Davis Eagle Lake Fish. That's 45 minutes away. I've got the Feather River watershed, which starts way up here by Quincy and then all the way down to Oroville. Oroville, they've got salmon. They've got steelhead. That's anywhere from outside of my front door to 2 hours away. So I picked a really good spot.
Yeah.
I got really fucking lucky, man, to, be somewhere where I can do a lot of different types of fishing,
Dude, that's incredible. What I also have noticed is being a guide, because I have been a guide and then I stopped being a guide and then I became a guide again and then stopped being a guide.
Oh, sick.
And what I noticed is that when I'm a guide, I don't care how I catch the fish, because it's all about being on the water and it's just about getting the fish, right? So
right.
When I'll tell you this story. So when I first came out to Nantucket, I was like straight fly fishing in 3 years. Like I haven't touched a spin rod in forever. And like, I think I'm there like early June, and I walk in to the office. I'm like, all right, and like, Captain Tom was this old salt's like, all right, you guys are going to go scout. And I was with this guy named Rory, and Rory was like 27. He was my like, kind of like, I guess I was a pledge to him. And we go out, and I'm like being stubborn as hell. I was like, I only fly fish. And he's like, okay, are you kidding? So then we're out there, and all of a sudden he starts roping fish. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. And he's like, dude, just like drop your ego. Just drop your shit. Just try this. And then I, was catching fish on top water, pencil poppers and stuff. And then I kind of looked at myself and I was like, why would I ever say no to fun ever again? Why, because I had so much fun. So like ever since that day, I was like proven so wrong. But, obviously there's a part of it. It's kind of like an athlete, right? Like I want to get better at fly fishing. So I'd rather like, I guess, fail in fly fishing because I learn more than, doing a spin rod. But once I become a guide, once I become like, I'm really invested in the fishery and it becomes about me versus the fish, I think all that stuff kind of goes out the window. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that perspective is I think a valuable one when someone's kind of at least a tiny bit interested in fly fishing. You have to express to them that this shit is hard.
Yes,
it's gonna be hard. It's very hard, and I like that because if you obviously. I don't, grabbing a spin rod or a casting rod and catching some fish on top water, pencil poppers, that's fun, dude.
Oh yeah.
Especially if it's stripers, like, and you get into a school of stripers and they're like all 4 or 5 pounds or, that's just, it's sick. I mean, obviously casting out a clouser and stripping them would be cool too. But, I think that's the people also too, like fly fisher people or whoever's interested in it and they want to take that challenge on.
Yeah.
It says a lot about that type of personality. I'm not saying it's better than another type of personality. I'm just saying it says a lot about that personality that they might like torture.
Well, I mean, so definitely the fly fishing personality is about that torture and it's about proving yourself. But I'm just saying as a guide. So like the more and more you learn a fishery, you're not going to pass up catching a 40-inch steelhead because you want to catch it on a fly. You're going to be spending so much time on that goddamn river. You're going to be like, I just want to see the fish. So I think when you get more and more into a fishery, it's the more and more you'll let go. And like you just want to see the fish because it's not really about how you catch it. It's about seeing it and knowing they're there. And I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to explain. And I like went hot and cold with this. Like I was growing up and I became like a fly fisherman. And I became snooty and only a fly fisherman. And then once I became a guide, I was able to like kind of drop that and be like, I just want to know where the biggest striped bass is. I just want to know what's going on. And then I came to San Francisco and I went right back into it.
Nice.
So I've gone through cycles, and now that I'm not a guide anymore and I'm just fishing for fun and vlogging for fun, it's all about fly fishing again.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I think that's cool, man.
So
I think that's good that you were able to kind of change it up a little bit.
So it's just like different. Like, it's obviously my passion, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it depends where you are. I'm sure I'll go back whenever I start guiding again. I'm sure I will go right back if I see, like, let's say I start guiding somewhere with redfish. If I see a 40-inch red and it's out of reach, I'm sure as hell picking up a spin rod and throwing it. But I guess it depends where I am on that journey. And I guess that's to my other point is that, it's your own race. And I want people to understand that so much is that there's no finish line. There's no trophy at the end. I guess there is for tournaments, but it's your own race. So if you're in Minnesota right now and you're starting to fish for bluegill, that's awesome. If you're 50 years into it and you want to get your one permit, that's great. But it is your own race. So man, I think that's the beauty of it. And that's why I think that out of the human element, that's the beauty of it. So, wherever you are in fly fishing, it's all good. It's it's all up to you.
The guide that I went with, my first fly fishing guide trip, he was he does bait, he does spin rods, and then he does fly fishing. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then later on down the road, I met more people who fly fished, and it was like, what? Egg beaters? No way.
Yeah, it's
cool, to each his own. And I think that's cool too, man. Like if you don't like a spin rod and you hate on it, that's fine. Cool. I think that's totally fine. And it's definitely, that's also the cool part about fishing, that, it's kind of like surfing. You've got your short boards, you got your long boards, you've got your big guns. You got all these different ways to do things. And it's like, if it was just one thing, it'd be just so boring, it would just be, for me, at least, it just would be super boring. And having different ways and different skill sets, you're allowing people, and just fishing in general, right? Getting outdoors, getting a line wet, no matter how you're going to do it. Like, man, I'm just celebrating that you're out there, and one of my favorite things too, is when I see like a dad and a son, like an old guy and his son or daughter, or even a mom and her daughter. Like there's some of those moms on Instagram. I'm like, damn, that's a fucking cool ass mom, dude.
Right.
Like, and actually, Caitlin, God, I can't remember her. Caitlin, I'm sorry if you hear this. I can't. She's one of the project managers or founders of the Mayfly Project. She's just a rad mom, and she's super cool, and she started the Mayfly Project, which is an organization, Caitlin Barnhart, which is an organization that gets fly rods into the hands of foster children.
Oh,
and,
really?
Talking to her, and her story was about, hey, I was just a mom on the river, and I wanted to get my kids in, fly fishing, and it was like a shit show, but she loved it. And it was just cool that she that's like her experience. She's just a rad mom. So, one of those, when I see people just having their kids, like I don't have kids, but I just remember how awesome and important it was for me to be out with my parent or my dad, And so when I see that, I'm just like, oh, they're just out. That's just cool. Like, that's just a cool thing. Obviously, I mean, I don't hate on sports, dude. Like, I think I watch basketball. I watch MMA. I watch.
We got a lot to talk about basketball.
Yeah, dude, I love basketball. I just started getting really into it. I used to be a huge football fan, and I'm not really anymore. But, I don't hate on those things, but I just really love fishing. I think it's one of the most healing, natural things you can do as a hobby. I think that's why I like skateboarding so much. You're always outdoors and you're exploring your area.
Yeah, dude, skateboarding. Jerry Seinfeld said this about skateboarding. He always says, whenever I see skateboarders, I know those kids will be okay. Because they always
so cool.
Because they mess up that trick 100 times until they get it right. And he like brings that back to comedy. So whenever he sees skateboarders, he's like, those kids will be okay. Because they're trying. Man. Right, and they try, so that skateboard. I have a mad love for skateboarding. I have mad love for all sports. But fishing, something about fishing with there's a book called Blue Mind, and it's about being on the water and like how that really really helps you. And now we know it's scientific now that this stuff helps you. So
right,
I want people to be in the water no matter what. But what I don't want are people killing fish on like an unnecessary rate. Right, so.
Right.
For example, in my lifetime or your lifetime, we'll probably lose salmon and steelhead because of the culture, right? People go up to Alaska and they just, Ziploc bag and like airlock bag stuff back home and like, ship it off. Like a bunch of salmon. And it's just in the culture. Same with striped bass in the East Coast. It's just like has been in the culture for so long that you just want to eat striped bass, eat striped bass, eat striped bass. And it's like really hard to change that. When I in back east, people would be like, I got 4 people to eat. And I'd be like, all right, well, 1 fish is fine. And they would never get that. They would never get that 1 fish could feed 4 people. They would be like, we need 6 or 7. And I'm like, dude, you don't need that. So, there's a fine line. And why I push fly fishing on people, because fly fishing people seem to understand that more. I don't know why. I really don't know why. There's the only difference.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It's only difference is because it's feathers versus like, a bucktail is a feather too, like for jigs. So I'm not sure what it is, but there definitely is something to it. So that's why I push it on people, because we have to save these fish. And to go more and more into it, I mean, there's so many problems, and especially what we're gonna have to deal with. So I just don't know. I would like to just tell people, I never would tell somebody not to eat fish, because that's a part of being a human. But there is a line that, and
did you hear about that that recent vote that they had in Oregon for the steelhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up it didn't pass. They wanted to limit the amount that people could take or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really remember, but I mean, that's just people trying to make a change in Oregon, and I'm not talking shit about the state or anything, but to me, it sounded like it failed. And people, I mean, man, when you see one of those like 27-inch, 28-inch chromers, dude, I could never even imagine bonking that wild fish. That's just nuts. But people do it, man, and it's legal, and it sucks, but. I'm not going to be out there being like, why are you keeping that fish? I know people who would be.
I would be like that. I would be like that.
Yeah. You would?
Yeah. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude.
No. And that's cool, man. Like I'll sit there and I'll try to stop the fight if the guy tries to come fight you. But you know, I think that that's definitely like that's cool. Like if you're willing to stick up for that fish, dude, because you know you don't feel it's right. I think that's awesome, man.
Well,
I
it
just
depends.
have
It
been
depends
in
on the
too many
fish. Like wild
arguments.
steelhead is that's come on, you know. And
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then,
dude.
then
Yeah.
there's like a black sea bass on the East Coast. You know, that
Right,
population's fine.
Right.
You know,
I
so
see what you're saying.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
a certain fish. I'm not trying to hate on you, like, you know, eating fish. It's just like,
Yeah.
like there are levels to this, and you know, like there is, you know, for example, a striped bass in the bay is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
A
Yeah.
halibut in the bay is not like one halibut in the bay is not that big of a deal.
Right.
But
right.
when steelhead in a wild river and a wild fish that's dealing with hot water dams and like overfishing, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Yeah.
You know, so like I'm not trying to tell people like, yo, you can't eat fish. You know, and I had that at the fly shop I worked at. They were like, you know, we don't want you to eat fish anymore. And I was like, what? You know, like that's crazy. Like I will eat the fish that I think is like okay to eat in that time period, right? For example, okay, so in 2015 I started guiding in Nantucket, and I literally, shit you not, caught like 7 striped bass the whole year.
Wow.
So we didn't kill striped bass the entire year. And then 2016 came around, and I think I caught 40 or 50 my first trip.
Wow.
So obviously something happened, right? So then that next year, so I ate a lot of bluefish in 2015, and then in 2016 I ate a lot of striped bass. So I just want people to be mindful of what they're eating. And I spent a lot of time in Florida, and I think it's the same thing with grouper. Like grouper is the best tasting fish ever, but like the culture and everybody wants a grouper sandwich, everybody wants a grouper that, grouper this. Like there's going to be a point where it's going to like tip the other way.
Right.
So I guess it's just mindfulness. I want people to. I'm not telling you F you for eating a fish. I'm just telling you like F you for eating that fish.
Yeah. Oh man. If I saw it, it would hurt. You know, like let's say I'm fishing the Chetco and I see someone catch a big ass fish, and then you know they keep it. It would hurt. I just couldn't say anything, man, because I get heated, and I'd rather just like, all right, if it's legal, it's cool. But hey, man, if I see a poacher, and it's not legal, I'm calling that. It's cool. I never was a narc when I was a kid. I never was like one to narc on anybody breaking the law. But if it's the one thing, dude. If I see people keeping fish or using bait when they're not supposed to on any river where it's not allowed, I'm calling the authorities immediately. I'm gonna narc the hell out on them, dude. I ain't gonna say anything because poachers seem to be a little gnarly. But yeah, man, I definitely will say something to the authorities if need be. But like say Oregon, right? It's legal, dude. I just it sucks. I couldn't even imagine seeing that go down, but
fuck the law. Like who cares? Like it's just I know like the fishery can't sustain that.
Yeah, so, man. I think that's cool. I think that's
so I'll be like, yo, like I'll at least say something and say like, listen, like, you know, and they could be like, yo, dude, fuck you. You didn't know what you were talking about. That's fine, but at least I said something.
Right.
But,
no, I think that's cool, man. I would love to be there just to see like the experience of someone, you know, bringing up the conversation, right? In a way where it's not like, hey man, F you, you're taking that fish, as opposed to like, hey, you know, you're taking that fish, and this fishery might not be like this in 10 years.
Right. So, that's how I'd approach it. I'd say, yo. Like,
right. Okay. Yeah. See, that's a better way to go about it. Right?
Like this is, you know, this is what I think, and like you can say no, but at least you heard it. Yeah. I mean, we're getting down a road that's like kind of a sad road, and then so. I want to go back to one thing with you, and I heard this on your Barbless podcast of DIY fishing, which is do it yourself. I think it's awesome that you like that. So give me your top DIY fishing destinations.
Oh man, okay. So definitely Alaska, dude. I got lucky, and I mentioned that one on Alaska, but you know it's possible. When I thought about Alaska, I guess also too, I was just so green, you know, when it came to like traveling to different destinations. But I feel like that Alaska opportunity, like you just got to look at a map. You just got to look at some water and go out and explore. And that's an area I think you can go fly to Anchorage, maybe pick a spot outside of Anchorage and fly there, and man, bring a raft or I don't know. You could just even just hike around. And I think it's definitely something that people think they have to get a guide. I don't think you really need to. I mean, if you can afford enough to figure out your sleeping situation, like in your truck or whatever, we did it in fall. It was cold at night. Proper sleeping stuff. But yeah, I think that's like, of course there's those people who have that DIY. They probably have been doing DIY Alaska since they were kids because their dad did it because they couldn't afford guides, or they just were such good fishermen they didn't need to get guides. But the Alaska like trip, man, if you could just afford to get out there and rent a car, I know that car rentals are pretty cheap there. One of the guys that was with us one day on a boat, which we actually got on a boat because we met a guy on a river, hiking down a river, and we became friends with him. And then he's a guide, and he took us on a boat. So, that experience was just so like cool. We got a guide one day, and I got it as like a present to my buddy who gave me a place to sleep, and then, who drove his van around. And I felt like, dude, we didn't even need to do that. But then again, it was through the canyon section of the Kenai. And when you get out to Ski Lake, you need a motor. It's through the Miracle Mile. Like, you needed to experience that section right there. But there was another guy out there who was staying out there. This guy named Ron. He was super cool, and he just does DIY on the Kenai like 2-3 months out of the year. He's retired or whatever, but that's his steez, and I think that's definitely a cool one. So for any new fly fisher person that's ever wanted to go out there and never have done it, and they're willing to, put their sleep uncomfortably maybe and save a lot of money, you could do it there. Another DIY one that I think that what I really, really, really want to do.
Yes.
Is I really want to get down there to, like, whether it be like, I don't know, Argentina or something like that. So we've been me and my buddy Brett have been looking at, of course, there's a lot of private lands out there in Argentina and like all of those sea run brown areas. But I've been doing a lot of investigating online, and there is some DIY opportunity out there. And of course, when people do it, they're pretty silent about it. But there's some input out there, and I really want to go to the areas of Tierra del Fuego or something around there. I mean, right. Tierra del Fuego, I don't know. This could be my ignorance. I have no idea. I'm not that. I don't know a lot of people who have been down there. I don't know a lot of people in the fly fishing industry to have these conversations. But is that the only river that has sea run browns down there? I don't think so. I just don't think that's just like, it's just like here, right? Like, we've got steelhead in all of our rivers that are connected to the ocean. If you explore, you're going to find one.
But that's the thing about, those fish aren't from there. Those fish are originally from Germany. Right. So like, how do I describe it? Like, you don't know. It's not like steelhead where the fish, go into different places. So, it could, right. They've adapted. I think they've been there probably about like 120 years probably. But it depends how they've adapted, I guess.
Yeah, I really want to, if I could do it one day where I don't have to go pay $8,000 to go to get like a fucking lodge down there, I'd love to try that. That would be really cool. I actually almost wanted to try to figure out an Iceland DIY trip.
I heard that, yeah.
No, like, guide out there and see what happens. It's weird because you think about the United States, right? And when you go to when you think about the United States, it's like, oh, I'll go anywhere. Like, it's cool. I know English, and I'll do it. But yeah, I really want to try like just somewhere that's out of my comfort zone, somewhere I don't know the language, and where I don't need to buy a lodge or a guide or something, and I could just go to this town that is near a river, and maybe some fish have got caught in there, and go to the local bar, and try to meet some fishermen and see what happens, or go explore. And I could see that. I could see that if depending on what happens in my career and where I end up, and financially, if I'm capable, yeah, man, I don't know. It's yeah, Japan would be sick too. Man.
Yes,
Even if
that's
I
my number
get
one.
out there with the fly rod, or
Yeah.
yeah, you know, get some ramen, and then head out to the mountains and try to see if I can find some of those bows that you see out there, or those bass. I don't know. That would be a freaking cool one.
That's
Man.
I do that trip with you.
That would be sick, dude. Let's do it.
Well,
Let's do it.
what's funny about fishing is like, you know, if you're the best basketball player in Massachusetts, you're probably gonna be the best basketball player in California. You know, like it's the kind of,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same sport, but like with fly fishing, you could be the best, you know, trout fisherman in Montana, but when you get to
Right.
you know, Terra del Fuego, it could be completely different. And I think that's what the beauty of the sport is. And what's also funny is that you and I are complete opposite fishermen. You know, you're into trout and streams. I'm into big ocean stuff. You know, I think that's cool.
Dude.
You know, I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
I noticed that like on your social media.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm looking
Surf.
at it, I'm like, man, he fishes for some pretty rad freaking species, you know? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like yesterday I did some DIY in this pond for some snook, and I ended up getting like this 30-inch snook in like a little pond, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
And like, but yeah, so I'll tell you my DIY story. So I came down to Florida where my family has some places. My grandpa has a place in Cortez, which is just south of Tampa, right? And I grew up on boats and really fortunate to have a lot of boats. And I always grew up with a Boston whaler, and I always thought a Boston whaler could get into really
Those are badass.
really shallow water. So I'm like,
Right.
all right, my grandpa's got a Boston whaler. I'll be able to get in some flats with that. So I take it out first day, and I just get stuck. I'm like, shit. I just got stuck. You know, I was like, what does this thing draft? They're like, about like 1.5 feet. I was like, that is not what I need. So I got stuck. So the next day, I'm like, I need a paddleboard. So I had my grandpa like borrow a paddleboard from a friend, which is tiny. And then the next day, he drops me off at the flat. And I'm in a paddleboard. I have no idea what I'm doing. I can show you some GoPro footage. I'm probably going to do a pod with my friend about what not to do. But like that experience of just trying and learning was just like so much fun. I ended up not catching a red. I call it the sport casting that mullet, you know? So like, but it was a really cool experience just like learning. You know, I came down there thinking, you know, Boston whaler are totally fine. But in reality, I learned so much about redfish. I learned so much about flats fishing in this area. And I thought that was like, you know, hopefully I live a long time and I can do it again. But that really excites me, you know. And I
Man, that would be so fun. That would be so fun.
I'm a big believer in guides, right? I'm a big believer in supporting guides and supporting the industry. But there is something about DIY and doing it yourself that just intrigues me a lot. And I want that to be more of a thing in fly fishing, especially in fly shops where like employees really encourage that. And I felt like I encouraged that a lot when I was working. You know, someone would come in and be like, you know, hey, I want to fish the surf in San Francisco. What do you think? I could very easily be like, you have no chance. You know, you have to go with me. You have to buy this rod. Like, or else you're not gonna matter. But I kind of went back to where I was when I was little, and I thought, you know, I got like screamed away at fly shops. I was like, dude, you got it. It's like, really? I only have a 5.8. I was like, whatever, dude, just go. Just like give it a shot because it's not a very technical fishery.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
And I got a lot of good responses
that.
to that. You know, so people come back like, dude, like I ended up getting one. Like you were totally right. I would give them like all the knowledge I could. It's also different though because it's surf fishing, so like it's not really like it's spot driven. You know, these fish move so much, so it's different from rivers. But I really encourage people to do it, and they would come in, they'd be like, "Well, what do you think?" I'd be like, "I think that's awesome. You know, just go." You know, and sometimes I'd give them a rod and give them the setup. But I think there's that exploratory part of fly fishing, especially with DIY, is extremely important. And
yeah, man.
You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's awesome.
I mean, I'm only 7 years really in the game of fly fishing, so I'm you know, that might make some people cringe, you know, as I am a guide right now. I'm guiding people on the Trinity.
Right.
That's the only place I know where I could guide really 100% confident, like I could get people into fish. And then the lower Sacramento River is almost like a gimme. And no offense to the guides out there, there's some people that can catch, you know, 30, 50 fish in a day, whatever. I could get people into fish. And it's those are the two spots where I'm like, okay. And then of course where I live here in Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm new at fly fishing, but there were certain things like I knew about myself that I was like, all right, well, I want to be a guide now because I want to try it. I love it. I love it doing it. And I'm a people person. So, but I'm still young. I'm a young fly fisher person when you think about the scheme of things and certain amount of time people have been in, like I said, 7 years. So, people are quiet about spots. And we just did a DIY thing, me and my buddy Will, out to the coast. We didn't know where to sleep. We didn't know where to lunch. We didn't know, then we reached out to people and we tried to get as much information as we could get. And we got some pretty good info, but it was totally like, what's the worst that can happen, dude? We're going to have fun. We're going to be out on the water. We might or might not catch a fish. We're going to go somewhere where people might not be nice to us. Like it's like this cool, just adventure this feeling about adventure that's going to happen. And I would say that for myself. That's how I was when I skated. We did that. And when I became a fly fisherman, when I started, it was definitely one of those things I just didn't know it was like, that's part of it too in the fly fishing game. Like part of it is just get out there, just go explore, just drive a direction. If there's a river you want to fish, you don't need to find out, just go, just get out there, you figure out a place to sleep or whatever. And now that I've been doing it more and years have gone by, I'm definitely dude, that's just what I want to do. I'm like, I'm gonna be 40, man, this year, and I feel like I'm like, man, I wish I would have found out about this, like, in my love for this in my 20s, because this shit hurts, man. Like camping out there on that coastal river and the cold and everything in the middle of winter, it was tough on the bones, bro. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm excited for the next 10 years until I'm gonna be 50 years old and or however long, to just point at something like, where I really want to go, man. I really want to go up above Skeena, above BC, like towards Alaska, and just look down the road and look off a bridge and be like, this has got to have some steelhead in it.
Yeah.
And stop and pull over and fish it. Whether I have my little raft or my pontoon and not have anybody tell me, if there's something there, and just explore and try to get that spring run steely or that fall run steely, or maybe they don't even run in that river. They've got to be out there. So that's one that I definitely want to do too, and I'm looking forward to. If you're a new fly fisher person, get out there. Go check it out. It's pretty sick, because you might catch a fish, you might not, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna see some rad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the United States, we're really lucky to have so much like diversity, right? But
Especially,
even if you're not in the United States, kind of get after it. I think, I think about a lot about people, because I'm from a not a very destinational place, right? I'm not from a place people have heard about before, so I'm always really mindful of a kid in Ohio, a kid in Illinois, a kid in like Iowa or Kansas or wherever in the middle of the country. I call them the flyover states, who feel like they have to go to the Florida Keys, they have to go to Montana, they have to do this to fish, but you don't. You can just fish for bluegill and like have a great time. Like I said, it is what you make it. So, to you kids out there that might want to try it, like fucking do it. It's awesome.
You can do it. You can do it anywhere.
And then you can, if you want to go to these destination places, like it will come. It will come. Yeah. I was extremely humbled this past couple weeks in Florida. Like, I went to the casting pools. I practiced a lot, and I failed at redfish fishing, and I just couldn't properly not spook the fish. Basically, I would rock the boat too much, or my cast would be too aggressive, and I think that was from surf fishing. So for someone that's been fly fishing for a long time, it is hard, and you're not the greatest, but my little slogan, you never graduate. You're never the best, right? So, that's why I love your vibe, because you're fun and you're, exciting, and I think you're very inclusive. And it's amazing what's going on with people being, kind of so uptight especially in the social media culture, especially in
man.
2020. It's very odd to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if I made a big like mistake. I never doubled down to myself. Like I always wanted to be a fisherman, but I'd meet other people and be like, oh, I have to be like that. Or
Right.
when I moved to California, I was like, fuck being a kid from Cleveland. You know, who cares that he like is, loudmouth and likes his stuff and loves sports and stuff. I was like, I should be like more uptight and tuck in my shirt and like only go for steelhead. But I'm a kid that likes going, so just double down on yourself. If you like this stuff, that's great.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. I definitely, it really means a lot for someone like yourself who's been, around a lot of fly fishing to say that. I appreciate it, man. But I gotta admit, I'm a dumbass.
We are though. I mean, are you a fish? Are you like, is your dad a fish or your mom a fish?
I'm just a dumbass. Man.
Everybody's a dumbass.
I love to have fun and I really want to be myself, and if you ever came to our family reunion, which of course you were ever, or a family party, you're always invited if you ever come and we have one. You'll kind of see like where my personality comes from. My aunties and uncles are just like such rad people. They're all about the fun. They're all about having a good time, being stupid, saying dumb jokes, and my friends growing up skating, that's how they always called me. My name was Mardum, is what people would call me. So, I just maintain the same personality who made me who I am, and that's like what Taco Flyco's founded upon. And it's just me trying to be me, man. And it's cool because I feel like that the fly fishing industry, for those who are new or existing fly fisher people, they've really been very receptive to me with open arms. And it's cool because there are a lot of people out there that are accepting of some random dude who's just trying something different and trying to, have a good time. And so that's cool, man. I appreciate it a lot, but I have to make sure I put that disclaimer that I'm a dumbass.
I mean, we all are, like we really all are, because none of us are fish, right? Am I a fish? I don't know.
Yeah. I can get you into a Trinity steelhead for sure, though.
No, I'm gonna definitely come up for some vlogs. I need to get some merch. I need to buy some Taco Flyco. If you are new to fly fishing, Taco Flyco is definitely what you need to be rocking, because that is what you are, right? You want to be.
Yeah, man. I like making fun stuff too. Our gear is definitely, it's made to be to one. I mean, just the name itself. That's like something that draws people in and it helps bring up that conversation. And I feel like it's when people rock taco gear, to me, it's just the biggest honor because people are spending their money on a brand that sort of was born based on just having fun.
Right.
And me and my friends.
That's really cool.
And I wanted to make stuff that was like, not when you wore it, you looked like you should be tucking your shirt in. What I mean? I wanted it to be where something like you could put it on and wear like a hoodie or a parka or whatever, and it looks like something that comes out of a skate shop or a graffiti shop or a sneaker shop or something like that. And I'm new at that too, so I'm not a clothing designer by any means, but I know what styles I like, and there's just wasn't a lot out there that I related to. That there still isn't, man. I mean, there's a couple brands out there, but most of the time it's just not. It's so pastel to me. I can't rock it. So I just make stuff that I like because I want to rock fly fishing brands. But another brand that I really like though, man, is Nature Boy Designs. That my homie James Park. He does red truck fly fishing.
He does.
Yeah. I like.
Is that James from Leland days?
Yeah, Leland days, man. Yeah, he's been around for a while, and I just met him through social media and through common friends in the industry who have he's been around, man. Let's just say that. I know you might know him through. I don't know any of the background story. I just know that James is a rad dude, and I like Nature Boy Designs. I like his graphics, and I like the way
right,
what it stands for, and I like that. He's like a funny, like salty old guy that's been in the game for a while, and he's doing his own shit. And he's
No, that's
at the
what we
point
want.
where, yeah, he's just like, he just does his own thing, you know, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. He's a cool dude. But yeah, there's a lot of up and coming brands too. I'm seeing on Instagram too. That it's like, cool. All right, I might rock that hat, or you know, or that looks like a brand that I can probably relate to. They celebrate art or whatever, but
No, this dude.
a lot of the stuff you see in a fly shop is not my I can't wear it.
Well, this dude, Salmon Junkie from Canada, just DM'd me about a couple days ago. Was like, yo, thanks for the follow. And he's like, yo, I try to take what I learned from skate and BMX industry and bring it into fly fishing and street art. So this guy is
Hell yeah.
definitely right up your alley.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, man. That sounds sick. I'll check them out. Another brand that I like, I'm sure you probably have seen him. It's Salt Junkies, and he does, you know, conventional, and he's starting to like get his foot into the fly fishing industry or fly fishing, you know, lifestyle. And that came from his move from Southern California to Northern California. And I'm stoked to see him doing that because he's got that Latino. He's Mexican, man. Like Joseph is I call him El Jefe. And
oh, really? That's dope.
Yeah. He's just, I got to do a trip with him.
Okay.
And he's just a great dude, and I like his brand. I like his graphics. It's, you know, celebrates Baja California. It celebrates Mexican culture, and that's just a cool. Like he makes those fish with the serape inside of it.
Oh, really?
Such a cool. Oh, dude, such a cool graphic. And so yeah, man, that's like why I wanted to you know make the clothing side, and I need help. So if anybody out there wants to help me design clothes, we could trade fishing trips or something. I'd love to help, man. That'd be great.
Guys, why don't you shout out your crew, like the people that you're homies with?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Definitely give a shout out to the Trinity Superflies, my boys who I started with. That's Andrew, Surtees, Iggy, Iggy Luna, Ignacio, Adam, my cousin Cody Hunt.
He's in Alaska, right? Or was in Alaska?
Yeah, well, he's here. He's in Redding. He's based out of Redding, but he guides out of there, and he's actually out of Shingletown. But he's an up and coming. He's a badass fisherman, man. But I hope he doesn't listen to this because I don't want his head to get any bigger.
Right.
The Superfly crew, my best friend Josh, man, was part of it. He's helped me get my brand started. He's my best friend. I love him. He's, you know, and then of course the Pyramid Flyco guys,
right?
They're fucking dope.
Like Casey and all them.
Yeah, those guys are shit, man. You know, I gotta admit, I was super nervous starting to go to Pyramid Flyco, seeing them on the beach. It's like when you go to skate park and you see the good skaters, you know, you get a little nervous, and I was, but they were just the nicest dudes, man. They were super cool and super, like, you know, willing to accept the Taco Flyco vibe into their, you know, beach.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, man, having drinks with them at Crosby's and stuff. They're super cool, man. All the Quincy people out here in Quincy, they're just awesome. Trout Unlimited, I got to give them a shout out to here, the Feather River chapter. What the Feather River chapter does up here, they're just really awesome, super cool people, amazing a love for this fishery in Plumas County, and they do a lot for us up here, you know. Trout Unlimited, you got a lot more work to do when it comes to diversity and inclusion, got to admit that. But
right.
Feather River chapter, they're killing it up here, man. Super cool. Peter Santley, thank you for all your help, dude, in support as well. You know, becoming a new guide on the Trinity River is always, that was a really scary thing, just because I was going to do it no matter what. And, you know, I wanted to be sure that I got the support from a couple of people, and that was, you know, like Peter and Chris Nicola, and then of course the Trinity Fly Shop guys, Herb, Burton, Patty, they're the shit. They were just totally backing me. They know my love for the Trinity, so they were just 100% supportive when I decided to make that decision. And Herb gave me like some of the best advice as a new guide what to do and what not to do. And I was just like, man, so lucky. And of course the barbless dudes, they're super cool.
Yeah, they're great.
Like just in giving me that amount of time on their podcast, dude, was just an honor and pretty awesome. And you know, I like to hit them up sometimes. Chad, we still got to go fishing. If you ever hear this, Nick, we got to go fishing. Yeah, man, off the top of my head, that's pretty much it. And then, of course, all the people who support Taco. It's just like, I feel like anyone who supports Taco, there's a lot of names that I've missed out there, but we've got so many people in the crew, you know, so many people that have supported us and have become best friends through this brand. Like, you know who you are. And it's that to me is just like worth so much to know that something like this helped this person meet this person. And now they're best friends and they go on trips across the country. You know,
that's
like that's
beautiful.
so,
yeah,
it's insane,
that's
dude.
what it's about.
Cool because it's like, you know, there was a need for something that would tell people of certain lifestyles, like, dude, there are other people out there like you that fly fish that are as big as a fly fisherman, as big as or new as you are, or whatever. And so yeah, anyone who supported Taco and they're all my friends. I consider them my friends. You should see like how many plans I have to fish with people.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because like I'm down, man. I want to meet anyone, dude. I just want to go fishing with whomever. Like it's all about, you know, I'm down, you know, with anyone, and I think our crew is too. And unless you're a pretentious dickhead, then you can suck it. And to each his own, of course. Like you're more than welcome to be that way, but just don't come talking shit to us. You probably won't like it. Like there's no bad blows or anything, but yeah, it's just definitely it's been a fun trip, man. I'm just excited for what's ahead.
Yeah, I think good things are ahead, and I'm gonna we'll end this on two things. The first thing is I'm gonna let you know what I'm gonna be up to, and you can tell me if this is a dumb idea or not, because I want to bring sports. I want to be like the sports fly fishing guy, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Fly lights. So I'm gonna watch NBA games or like anything that's sports and tie a fly to the game.
Tight.
And
I like it.
So I'll like pick a team I think is gonna win, and then I'm gonna do the color of the fly to that.
That's cool, man. I think it's actually a great idea. It's creative. It's creativity too. It's like to shoot down creative ideas in the fly fishing industry or anything for that matter. I think that's a very creative thing. Tying flies too it's like an art form, right? And you integrate it with something that you love. I did like the taco fly. It actually looks like a taco. Yeah. You know, so I think it's a cool idea, man. And you're going to meet people that probably love sports as much as you and love fly fishing as much as you. And I think it's a great idea for you to meet those like-minded people. You know, there's going to be people that are going to be like, that's a stupid idea. But bro, if that's honestly, man, Kevin, if that's what you fucking like think this would be a good idea, dude, fucking do it, man. I think it would be great. I want to see your Warriors fly, bro.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll do a Warriors fly if I think they're going to win. Unfortunately, the Cavs and the Warriors are the two worst teams right now. But but the main reason for that is I think it'd be funny to reference it back in vlogs. Like, you remember that December 10th game against the Sixers?
Yeah.
This is this fly. So that's cool. Another thing. And then the other thing I'm going to start is the where they could have fished, and then going through movie sets of where people and actresses could have fished while they were on set. And
man, that's such a great idea.
And really deep diving into, like, we did Fool's Gold, which is like 2007 Matthew McConaughey movie. We called this Australian Fly Shop. It was hilarious, but really deep dive into it.
Nice, dude. I like that. I think that's great. That's a great one.
So, yeah.
It reminds me of when I was a kid, dude, and we would watch movies and we would be like, oh, look at that rail.
Yes.
Oh, look at that ledge. Like, where is that, you know? And I've heard of actually people, like, going back and finding out where they filmed the set to go skate that spot. So yeah, man, that's a great idea. I like it, man. Those are two really good ideas.
And then, like, with the video podcast, you know, I always give this example, like, you know, where Bob Barker beat up Happy Gilmore, you know, in the water, we could like pause it and be like, oh, there's definitely bass in there.
I like that, dude. That's a good idea. And it's cool, man. I like that. You got a creative personality. You got good talent, man. I keep it up, dude. I think that your skills with photography and yeah, you've got some skills, man. And fucking fly fishing's lucky to have you around to present some stuff, dude. So keep it up, man.
Thanks, brother. And then we'll end it with
sure.
this. Give me NBA predictions. Let's just talk a little NBA.
Okay, for what, this year?
Yeah, this year.
Oh, dude. Okay, so
Yes.
dude, Lakers and Clippers right now. Dude,
Right.
I mean, that to me, like, I'm a Warriors fan, and I'm an old Bulls fan from when I was a kid, right? Michael Jordan. I was a kid. I loved Michael Jordan. I loved Scottie Pippen. Like, that's how I was. Now I'm a Warriors fan, and I became a Warriors fan. I never necessarily was like a huge basketball fan, but I got out of NBA during the strike, when the strike happened. I was a skateboarder and the strike happened. I was like, dude, fuck these guys.
2014?
Going. I was like,
2012, 2011, actually 2011.
I don't. It was like around, like, I liked Allen Iverson. I guess I didn't really like Kobe, man. You know, rest in peace. I just didn't really like that time. You know, I
that was a tough time for basketball.
I did go to a Warriors game back then. I did go,
cool.
but I actually went and saw Kobe and Shaq play at the Warriors Stadium, and I didn't go for that. I went to go to the Warriors. I'm from the Bay Area, so
yeah.
You know, watching it this year and seeing what Kawhi Leonard did, and watching, I mean, last year was nuts.
That was great.
It was great, man. It sucked, and it was really hard. It was really heartbreaking to see what happened. You know.
Oh yeah. Well,
that was just
too much.
Man.
Yeah, too much.
Like,
too many games.
When people get hurt, you know, like snap an ACL, Achilles, snap an ACL, like, that was just crazy. So, I don't have any like, you know, Kyrie's from Cali. Paul George is from Cali. I'm rooting for the Clippers, man. I want them to take it. As much as I don't like Lou Williams when he plays the Warriors in postseason. He's dope, man. He's amazing. So yeah, man, I hope the Clippers take it this year. I like LeBron James and how the Lakers are looking, but I just don't think that they're gonna get it. I just don't think so. You said predictions, right?
Well, yeah, these are predictions. I think I'm definitely going to say Lakers if Anthony Davis is healthy, but
that's exactly what I was going to say, dude.
I think he's glass bones. I don't know if he can be healthy. With the Clippers, they're small, right? They're a pretty small team. I think some stuff happened today, but anyways, they have Marcus Morris, you know, who's going to help with the 3-point line, and they're shooting. This Kawhi controls the game so well. He kind of reminds me of MJ and can just play at his own pace. You know, the Bucks are historically, like, going to be one of the best teams ever. They might win 70 games. And I just don't think Giannis has that go-to move and go-to shot yet.
Right.
So I don't believe in that.
I don't think he could be. I don't think he can be. I don't think that the Bucks can beat the Lakers and the Clippers postseason because of the experienced postseason of both teams. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna be really fun. I mean, I really enjoyed, you know, the past 5 years. You know, so, you know, my dad went to the first Cavs game ever. So we're long time Cleveland Cavaliers fans. But a lot of people, you know, I love LeBron, saw him playing in high school, went to my grandpa's high school. But I'm a Cavs fan first, you know. So you're never going to see me wearing a LeBron Lakers jersey. You'll see me wearing a LeBron Cavs jersey. Absolutely. So he is my boy. But at the same time, I don't know. I honestly think it's going to come down to the Clippers, and I just think Kawhi he just controls that game so well. But it really depends. He's kind of an asshole, to be honest with you, as a teammate, right? And I really don't know. But if the Lakers are healthy, but I don't think they will be. I think something will happen with Anthony Davis. I think he'll get like glass shoulders. Something will happen, and it will fall apart. But if they are healthy, they're going to win. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited for like not a front runner. You know, I love that Warriors team.
Yeah.
Even though I was Cavs fan, you guys were kicking our ass. But like I love Steph Curry. I love Clay.
We'll be back, baby, next year.
Yeah.
Don't sleep.
Yeah. I mean, the Wiggins trade. I think they should flip him.
Yeah.
For
that
Embiid.
might happen. I think it might happen. I mean, I listened to some podcasts about Wiggins and the trade itself, and
who do you listen to?
I mean, you know, he's still the Ringer.
Yes, I love the Ringer. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, and like I'm not like a hardcore NBA fan, but I'm really intrigued over the past 4 years, man. 5 years. I'm like, it's been great. It's been fun to watch. The trades, you know, the anticipation for next season with the Warriors, the new stadium, LeBron going to the Lakers, Anthony Davis leaving, Zion Williams coming in.
Yeah,
like,
Zion.
It's pretty cool, man. It's definitely super cool. I'm excited. So it's cool. But we'll have to text back and forth, dude. Now that I know a fly fisherman NBA.
Well, we should do a fly lights where you do a fly.
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
A fly, and we'll talk about the game.
I'm down, bro. I'm down.
All right, man. We're at an hour 28, so we should probably wrap it up.
Cool,
but thanks so much. I'm gonna be doing a lot of these. If you want to be like, you know, Bill Simmons, you want to be my Joe House, you can.
Hey, man. I
come on all the time.
That, dude. Hey, man. I appreciate it. You know, just fill me in. Let me know. I'd love to talk some shit to some elitists out there. I think that would be a great podcast, you know?
Okay,
like,
let's do it.
I think that would be super fun. Like, let's get somebody on the other side of the coin, you know? I'd love to just have that conversation and just get on, and you can mediate and see where it goes, you know? Just kind of just see what it's like to have, you know, this new drunk Mexican dude come in and pitch with this like guy who tucks in his shirt.
You know, it'd be great. You know, it'd be great if I could go into, because I got the podcast like set up here and like the video stuff. So if I could go into like a random shop somewhere that's like, you know, really tight ass and like say, hey, we're gonna do a podcast, and like right when it starts, you roll in. And like, just sit down and like we just get after it.
That sounds so good. I'd love that.
I don't know where we could do that. I'm sure lots of places. But yeah, man, we'll wrap it up. You know, obviously I'll send you this stuff, and
yeah, keep in touch, dude.
All right, man. Go Cavs or go Warriors.
Thanks, dude. All right, dude. Take it easy.
All right.
The knowledge. Instructions are as follows. Number 1, Mexican beer. Now I like Tecate or Modelo. I could do Corona, just make it Mexican beer. Number 2, lime. Half a lime to start with. You don't need to cut it up into 8 pieces, just use a half lime. It makes it real easy. I'm gonna make one for me, one for Brandon right now. Brandon's on the camera. Second thing is salt. Now we got this pretty good Peruvian salt here. It's gonna be kind of funky coming out of this thing, so I'm gonna get it to break up a little bit. And so now we have some salt. It's broken up. The next ingredient will be the tapatio. Now I lost the cap at Pyramid, so using saran wrap. The fourth ingredient. The fourth ingredient is beautiful tahine. You can get this at most grocery stores or order it on Amazon. Tahine is a Classico seasoning. It actually comes from Mexico, I believe. Houston, Texas. The last ingredient is your choice of salsa. Now, I like this Yellowbird Serrano condiment. It's super good. It's actually making my mouth water. It's an organic kind of hot flavor. I say add another hot sauce. You could do like your favorite hot salsa from your local Mexican market or your own. But I like to add another, this is the final topping. All right, so the way it works, number 1, the most important part is you got to barely crack your beer. Now, hopefully I do this right because we only brought 3 beers today. That's actually too much, which is kind of good. It'll show you what could be too much and what could be too little. So here's on this one. There, that's what you want. So here's bad, this is good. Just a tiny little crack. Why we do this is when you're dressing it up, the first thing, my mouth is watering so much. The first ingredient is always the lime. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put the lime on this one. You see how it's just dumping in there? You don't want that because it's going to take away from that first sip. The first sip is the most important sip. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you why we just barely crack it. So we got it. So it sits on top. Now while it's sitting on top, that little crack is dripping lime in there, and it preserves also the lime for your first sip on the top. So you have two separate ones that show you good and bad. All right, so I'll probably drink the good one. All right, so next ingredient, salt. Now you don't have to do it in this order, but this is the order I felt works best. So put some salt right there on the opening. Right? Be generous. Next, tapatio. Good old tapatio. Throw that dread chicken right there. Nice. Mouth is still watering. All right, next ingredient is the tahini. Throw that right up on top. You don't have to go too crazy. All right. And then the last ingredient is your last final hot sauce, salsa, whatever it is. That's it. Now the idea is, obviously this one has the pool of goodness. You crack it and you drink as much as you can. I mean, you could crack it and take a sip, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the special beer. You pound it. You don't have to pound your beer. You can if you want, but the flavor kind of just like, it's so good. So that's a special beer. I'm gonna go ahead and crack this for the camera here and show you what it does. All goes into the beer, and you're ready to slam. That's it. It's brought to you by Taco Flyco, California, Alaska, Canada, Mexico, Antarctica. We love special beers. Send us videos of special beers. We'll put them on our social media. We got special beer t-shirts and hats, stickers. Special beer flies coming soon, special beer rods. We're gonna have special beer indicators. So thanks for following, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed today's special beer video. We love you. Bye-bye. Good night. Does that sound good? Yeah, it sounds real good. I think I'm just gonna go about 4 feet. And then I'm gonna tie them. Ooh, they are right around us. Did you see that?